You can follow me on Instagram at Rico Machado Torres. You can follow me on Twitter at Torres Rico. I don't use Twitter all that much. And you can follow me on Twitch at RMT Streams. Or you can just subscribe to this channel. Just like and subscribe to the channel. That's probably the easiest thing to do. So I went on Instagram and I asked you guys to ask me some questions. And I'm going to answer them here since I know my channel's still pretty new. I know I still need to kind of give you guys a better idea of who I am and what this channel is going to be. And if you have more questions, you can hit me up on Instagram, on Twitter, on Twitch. Any tips for cleaning white mesh on Air Max? I don't want to say I'm bad at cleaning shoes, but I'm kind of really bad at cleaning shoes, so I generally don't do it, or I try really hard to not do it with my own personal shoes. I mean, I guess just use a super soft brush and just soap and water usually just works. I know there's a bunch of solutions out there. There's like Reshoevn-Ator and Jason Mark and all that stuff. Jason Mark I'd stay away from. I think Reshoevn-Ator's okay. MGK, not Machine Gun Kelly, but it's called MGK Shoe Solution or something like that. That usually works pretty good. Just a super, super soft brush, obviously, so you don't pick up the threads. But I would go to a few other channels before actually following that advice. Top 5 pro wrestlers. I got a surprising amount of wrestling questions, considering I kind of thought I kept my love for pro wrestling kind of under wraps. And, I mean, I'm not going to be talking about wrestling much on this channel, if at all. But yeah, I did want to take my shot at answering this. Now, a little background, like obviously I watched the Attitude Era. Every fucking buddy did. Every kid got suspended for doing the DX Suck It at some point in elementary or middle school, or high school even. With that being said, a lot of my answers are going to be kind of from that era, and my very recent knowledge of what I got back into watching wrestling last year. The longer story is I was at my girlfriend's house, and she was asleep, and I could not sleep, and she had Peacock, and I didn't. So I went on Peacock, and I saw that WWE was there, and I think I saw an article on, I don't know, like maybe Apple News or some shit that, the first ever WrestleMania main event with 2 black women was happening. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know that, women really wrestled like that. So I went back and I watched the match, and it was incredible, and that kind of got me back into watching wrestling, and I went back and watched a bunch of matches and just took in as much as I can. And I have a bunch of friends. I'm in a group thread with a bunch of dudes who watch wrestling on a regular basis, so it's kind of hard to like stay out of that subject when the group thread is always popping with wrestling stuff. So top 5 wrestlers, I think my top 5 is probably pretty similar to everybody's. Number 5, I have Daniel Bryan. I think he's Bryan Danielson, whatever his name is. He's just fucking incredible. He's a master craftsman. The Yes Movement was unbelievable. Even when he turned heel for Kofi Mania, that was fucking amazing. Just everything, his stuff with AEW so far, everything he does is so good. Number 4, I have The Undertaker. It's the best character in the history of wrestling. Number 3 is actually probably my personal number 1. I'm going to say someone else, but number 3 is very, very close to me, and it's Kurt Angle. I think Kurt Angle was such a phenomenal wrestler. I met him when I was a little kid, and it was just super, super cool. It was at Funtime USA. If you grew up in Brooklyn, you knew what Funtime USA was, and you knew that wrestlers were in there pretty much all the time. Number 2, Stone Cold. Duh. Like 2 and 1 are pretty obvious. Like, number 2 is Stone Cold, and number 1 is Shawn Michaels. I think HBK Shawn Michaels has gone through so many different changes, and he always felt somehow ahead of the curve, you know what I mean? Like, he never felt like he was behind. He never felt like he was old. He was just always kind of the right place, right time. He's been in more classic matches than fucking anybody else, I think, in the business. Shawn Michaels, gotta be number 1. Do you think runners 997, 998, Gel 83, etc. will make a comeback, and if so, when? Runners, are still prevalent right now. I mean, not those 3 in particular, but everybody loves New Balance now. Like, that's a thing. You still have Diadora out here with the Hasbro pack, with the alternative route. Sakai Blazers, those are technically runners. I mean, I don't know what else they would be called. Like, fashion, collab. Yeezys are technically runners, aren't they? Again, it's more fashion. The chunky, like dad shoe thing, like those are all supposed to be runners. Runners are here. Runners are here to stay. I mean, gone are the days where like, we'd wear a KD4 like out, like where we'd wear a Jordan that wasn't a 1, 3, or 4 out to anywhere. You know what I mean? As far as the 997 and 998, there's a top probably 2 New Balance models. So I think those will still. They'll come back. Everything's cyclical. Everything will come back. The Gel-Lyte 3, I mean, AFU just had a collab, had like a one of one thing, and then maybe a worldwide collab. Concepts just dropped the Otoro, that salmon one with the green laces last year. I think there were some GRs in 2019 that came back around for like the 35th, 25th, 30th, I think, anniversary. I kind of thought the Gel-Lyte 3 wave would come all the way back when Sean Witherspoon did a collab for it, and then that didn't necessarily happen. But yeah, I mean, there's always room for more 997s, more 998s. I mean, 997 kind of shifted to the 997H and the 997S, which I hope they go back to their mainline 997 sometime soon. Will the Jets get under or over 3 wins this season? Come on, man. What are we fucking doing? The Jets are a better team now than they were before the season last year. Like, they will absolutely have over 3 wins. I don't think the Jets will go. I mean, they're not. People can look at the Bengals and be like, oh, the Jets can do that. And I'm saying, no, the Jets cannot do that. Their defense is a fucking mess. They still haven't found the right mix of playmakers to run the offensive system, even though it got much, much better when Zach Wilson came back from injury. There's a lot of work to be done. As far as the Jets, this is not just, Zach Wilson is not Joe Burrow. He was not Joe Burrow coming out of college. So, but over, fucking double 3 wins at least. I think again, it depends on the draft. It depends on free agency and how all that goes. Joe Douglas's fucking job is on the line here. They have to win at least 7 or 8 games, 7 to 9 wins next year for them to not run Joe Douglas out of town. So we will see. No, the Jets are. I said this last year too. The Jets are so far from the worst fucking team in football. Like it's ridiculous. Favorite shoe silhouette? That's the Gel-Lyte 3. It's perfect. I talked about it. It's the perfect shoe. I love the split tongue. I love, the OG shape. Like, I love all of that stuff. It's just a really sleek runner. There's so much paneling, so many different things that you can do with the colors that it's amazing. Of your sports teams, which is your favorite? That's the Mets. So the hierarchy, it goes Mets at number 1, Jets number 2, Rangers at number 3, Knicks at number 4. With the Knicks and the Rangers, I'm kind of in the same boat because I don't know enough about either sports to really be. I'm not going to say all that invested in it because I still am invested in those teams and want them to do well. Obviously, with football, I mean, all like modern like sports media outlets is like it's basically all football all the time. I want the Mets to win a World Series more than I want anything. Better yet, which one of your teams make you the most angry? It's pretty funny because it's actually the team I care about the least are the ones that make me the most angry, and that's the Knicks. I think they're a fucking dumpster fire. It's insane how ineptly run this franchise is. I don't know if this is true for every NBA team, but I always feel like the Knicks have the most fucking rumors ever. Like, if you look back, LeBron was supposed to play for the Knicks, Zion's supposed to play for the Knicks, Kyrie's supposed to play for the Knicks, KD's supposed to play for the Knicks, and none of those fucking people played for the Knicks. Like, it's so stupid how they do this every year. Dame Lillard was supposed to play for the Knicks. I never believe any free agency rumors at all. Why is Jadakiss as hard as it gets? Pause emojis. I mean, I don't know if it's well documented, but I am a Dipset fan. I am a really big Dipset fan. I fucking love Dipset. But, I mean, Jadakiss fans are really going to run like an 8-month-long victory lap. Like, Jadakiss and the Lox were more prepared than Dipset was for essentially a fictional like competition concert thing, so it's like I don't fucking care. Like I still get Jadakiss comments in my Instagram DMs. Like why do I care, man? Like I'm still gonna listen to Dipset before I listen to Jadakiss. I fucking love Jadakiss. Jadakiss is incredible. If you were about to get a PE, what brand and model, or would you rather your own sig? I'm not creative enough to have my own signature shoe, and I'm pretty sure with signatures it just kind of goes, well, hey, we want to give you this shoe. This is the shoe that we want to be your shoe. And the player just goes, okay, and like, moves on and collects his paychecks. If I personally could do any model, I think it'd probably be a tech challenge too. It would have a gum sole of some sort. And that's about as far as I get, honestly. I've never been good at, I've never made a Nike ID. I almost made an NB1, which was New Balance's answer to and then COVID happened, so I never got it. But yeah, I'm not good at any of that stuff, at like putting colors together and materials, and like I'm not good at any of that stuff. If you were a wrestler, what would your name and finish move? I got so many wrestling questions. It's kind of crazy. I remember when I was like 9 or 10 years old, I always thought that my gimmick could be like a stuntman. Like I was always like pretty enamored with the idea of stunt people, like, going around and jumping off buildings and driving in cars and shit. Like I thought I could like come out of the tunnel with like this cool like fucking motorcycle helmet and a leather jacket, like basically just looking like Ryan Gosling from Drive, but like 10,000 times more lame. Like it. Oh my god. And then my finisher, I don't know, it would be, I thought about it in my head, and I thought it'd be like, if you took Charlotte Flair's natural selection, the RKO, and like the phenomenal forearm, and like put them all together. I don't even know how to explain it. It'd be something off the ropes into a flip of some sort, and then a slam, like something like a natural selection RKO off the ropes, I guess is what my finisher would be. I think seeing something like that would be pretty cool. But it's kind of crazy that all the finishing moves like haven't already been made up. Like it's kind of crazy that there's still shit like the boom, like the buckshot lariat, like Styles Clash, like it's crazy that there are still so many really cool ones. The KOD is just kind of like a modified like F5 thing, which is kind of like, more what I expected finishing moves to still be, but people are still really, really fucking creative with it, and that's cool. Wrestling Mount Rushmore, that one we kind of covered already. It would be, I guess we didn't really cover it. That'd be kind of a tougher conversation. I think Wrestling Mount Rushmore should be Undertaker, Stone Cold. Man, I don't know why that's tougher. Bret the Hitman Hart, and I don't know, I guess Ric Flair. Like I'm trying to think of people. They say that with Hall of Fame things, like, oh, well, you can't tell the story of such and such without this person. Like I'm trying to think of all of those people that applies to for wrestling as a whole. So I mean, if that's the case, like probably Hogan. I mean, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock's probably up there, Bret Hart. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really, really tough one. This last question, which is my favorite question, what's the best shoe box? I think the early 2000s era Jordan box might be my favorite. Like that black and gray box. I'm pretty sure Wolf Gray 5s came out in 2012, and those still had that box. 2006 to 2012, that gray and black box. Something about the blue box, the blue Nike SB box, I don't know, it's so fucking cool. I don't know, it's just a blue box. This is Nike SB on it. Like, it shouldn't be that big a deal, but it is. I think it's a really fucking cool box for some reason. That's it for me. I have an Air Jordan tier list video coming very soon. It took me a very long time to make, so it will take even longer editing. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. I'm not good at promo, so I mean, I dropped all of my fucking thing at the beginning of the video and all of my accounts that you could follow and ask me shit. So, or you could always ask me a question here in the comments. I'm still working on becoming an internet person.